Hello and welcome to the Fleeting Thoughts podcast with your hosts Joe Gray and Channing Cornwall. Channing, how you doing?
Oh, Joe, thank you. I just want to say again, thank you for having me. I had to travel all the way from Albuquerque to be precise, and my feet are very tired. But I'm so happy to be here. How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. I just got done with my coaching practice, and I do soccer.
Wait, what? What sport did that dude do?
I don't know.
I should have paid attention.
Little old Jewish guys play soccer?
I don't know. I don't know if Jews do any sports. They mostly just play with calculators and dreidels.
I'm just very good at math, and if you need a financial advisor for your team, just give me a call. I'll help you out.
Don't worry about it.
For a nominal fee, of course.
Yes. And nothing's free in this world.
Wow, that was fun and took way too many takes to be what the final product was, but that was fun. And
welcome everybody.
Yeah,
this is a normal podcast now.
Yeah, we're back to normal.
We're just face is all hot from laughing. So
I know
much.
it was very silly trying to make that even come out of our mouths correctly. But yeah, welcome, and we're excited to be here and do this. And
as always,
we have a wonderful topic today and some words. And yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to get right into it, or do we need to
Let's just get into the words, or unless, how was your day? You had the day off. No, you didn't have the day off. You just returned from
Neither
work
of us
recently.
had the day off.
Neither. It's been a long. The day has been so long that I didn't even realize that I worked today.
Yeah, no, work was fine, and it was kind of a short day.
After I left, that's what I should have said.
It was good. It was a short day. We had just a few customers come through, and easy peasy. How was your day after you went home?
It was very productive. I did some research on our topic for the day.
Cool.
I wrote another 1,000 words on my new novel, which has been my new goal. I'm trying to get at least 5,000 words a weekend, so it gives me... I usually try to take at least like one day off where I don't do any writing, but then I have some playroom if I don't have enough time to get like a full 1,000 in a day done.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been doing it for a couple weeks and it's been working out, and I had a really good day with writing today. It only took me like 45 minutes to pump out 1,000 words, which sometimes...
How many pages is that?
It's about 2 to 3, roughly.
2 to 3 pages?
Yeah.
That's like what a high school student dreads is like 2 pages.
I know. When in like college and stuff, when people are like, "Oh, I have to write like a 6-page paper," I'm like, "Dude, I fucking do that all the time. No problem." So it's a little. I guess it's different when you're writing about something you probably don't really care that much about versus something that you do. But
yeah.
No, so I got that done. Did a little research. Took my dog for a walk. Did some laundry, and
wow,
yeah,
very productive evening.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Cool. Well, let's get into our words of the day so we can define some new stuff
for people who don't know
words.
that well.
New words.
I'll start it off. I am doing the word pabulum. Pabulum. Joe's choking on his tea.
I don't know how to drink.
Pabulum is such an amazing word that Joe cannot listen to its existence and drink fluids at the same time.
Sorry
his
about
body
that.
gets caught up in some kind of weird funk, and
I think I wasn't paying attention to the drinking, and I couldn't decide what I was doing.
I think you were just so enthralled in the word, you're just rolling pabulum through your mind and not paying attention.
Pabulum.
Which means it's actually just material for intellectual nourishment.
Material.
So, for those of you that listen to these words and learn them, we are providing pabulum for you in terms of giving you nourishment for your intellectual mind.
We are a good source of pabulum.
It's like a nutrient almost. You gotta have that pabulum.
God damn, that's some good pabulum right there. Yeah, it's a really interesting word. I've never heard of it before, and I will never hear of it again. No, it's spelled Pabulum.
Mm-hmm.
And did you just find that in your searching for weird words?
Yeah. I thought it was cool. Kind of fit in with what we were doing, and yeah.
Yeah, and it says material. like material, like any kind of medium, like words.
Yeah, I assume
or
if
books
if it provides intellectual enhancement, if you will, it
nourishment.
probably would count. For those of you who don't know what nourishment means.
Yeah, that would be weird. Look that one up. Sweet. Thank you very much. And my word of the day is homily, which is a religious discourse that is intended primarily for spiritual edification rather than doctrinal instruction, a sermon.
Wow,
so
like
it is,
the whole beginning of that definition was a lot of really large words, and then they just summarize it with a sermon. I think probably when people were listening to that, they're like, "What?" And then you get to a sermon, they're like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Oh, right,
right, dude, makes sense now. All right.
So instead of, I don't know what doctrinal instruction, how that's different than a sermon, because it seems like a sermon involves doctrine and explaining it, but maybe that's more specific or more something that apologetics is interested in or something. But
it was homily. That's the word.
Homily, Homily.
Oh, I thought it was homily, which I was thinking that maybe that was a holiday reserved for the praise of hummus or something.
Homily.
Just it's the day that we reserve for eating hummus and appreciating its existence.
Mm-hmm. That's
not even remotely close.
No, it's not about hummus. Yeah. That would be homily.
That's what I thought. That's what you said at first was homily, but it's homily. So you get it. You get it.
So it's like my preacher's super good at homilies, dude.
Yeah, but they don't really provide much pabulum, if you ask me.
No, it seems to be lacking in the pabulum department, which is my favorite department.
Pabulum?
Yep. The pabulum department.
Homilies, get out of here.
Homilies, you little homily. Coming up with all your homilies. Sweet. So words. That was quick. I like how we just sort of blew through those.
I think we've just been doing it for so long now.
Yeah.
They just come right out of us.
Yeah.
Go out into the ether and get absorbed by listeners, hopefully.
Yes. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Anyway, if they're not interested, then they can just ignore them and go to this part.
Just fast forward 15 minutes in.
I don't know. Where are we at in the time right now?
7.5
7.5 minutes. Perfect.
10 minutes. Just
stalling for time for some reason without knowing it. Cool. Well, let's get into some other information. How are you doing in your pursuit of health and fitness, and any updates, anything new you're adding to your habits or to your schedule?
I recently, probably about 2 weeks ago now, it was a little before the first of the year, but I have taken on a little bit stricter diet than I was doing before. Okay. I would say I was probably doing about 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day, roughly, closer to 2,000. And now I've cut it down to about 1,500 to 1,800, a little bit, somewhere in there. So I'm just on a stricter diet. I started adding more core workouts in the evening, because I run a couple miles every morning, and then I go on about a 30-minute walk with my dog when I get home. And so I just added some like crunches and push-ups in the evening as well, just to like burn a few more calories, do a little bit of muscle toning, I guess, building.
For sure.
That way I just felt like I have like a 3-part exercise regimen for like each part of the day, like morning, evening, and evening again, I guess. Not really afternoon. I'm at work during that time most of the time. But I've mostly just been doing that. I've been eating salads about 3 to 4 times a week, and just cutting out even more fast food and things like that. I don't have salad every night. I would get sick of it. But I try to like have salad one night, and then we'll do something else the following night, and then usually salad again after that. My wife's doing it with me. Not that she doesn't need to lose weight at all. She doesn't have any to lose anyway, I don't think. But she's just doing it because she enjoys the salad, and it's helpful for me to have somebody. It would be very difficult if I'm having salad and then she's having like delicious Chinese food or something while I'm trying to do that. So it's cool that she's kind of in it with me. I have not weighed myself since I started doing it. I kind of wanted to just wait. I was reading it takes a good like 2 to 3 weeks for your body to acclimate to new eating life habits. And so typically you don't see any kind of change or results until like 3 or 4 weeks in, just because your body gets used to consuming a different amount of food, and then it regulates your functions based off of that. So
sure.
I just haven't. I was like, I don't really care about weighing myself. What it has done though is I have a ton more energy every day that I did not have before. I mean, most days even if I got like 9 or 10 hours of sleep, I was still kind of dragging the following day unless I had a bunch of caffeine pumped into me. But I've cut down on the caffeine, and then I think that it just attributing to eating a lot better. My lunches, I've added like vegetables and other things to them with those like healthy choice meals instead of giving like the Mary Calendar ones, which have half the calories and they just have a lot more nutritional values in terms of vitamins and things like that. And so that I just have had a lot more energy, and I think that also enhancing my writing regimen lately that's like a big goal for me this year, was to really step up my writing game. I was getting a little lax over the holiday season, but we were really busy with a lot of stuff at the store, and so I didn't have a lot of time, and I was pretty tired all the time. But I feel like between amping up my writing regimen, dieting a little bit harder, and then exercising a little bit more, I just had a lot more energy. I can't even think of the last day that I was just like kind of dragging. I've just been kind of ready to go every day. But yeah, that's all I've been doing. Just taking what I was kind of already doing and then just kind of taking it to the next level.
Sure.
I'm hoping by the end of this year, I will shave off the last 20, 30 pounds that I'm trying to get rid of, get me down to about 200, or even 205 I would be happy with, just to trim a little bit more of the fat, and I will be a happy camper pretty much as far as weight loss and training and all that stuff goes.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. That's the thing, I think, when you start to develop new habits and start to get into health and fitness, is you kind of gradually do a little bit here and there, and you start to see some results, and it creates kind of a positive feedback that allows you to continue and do more, because you're not just like going crazy, on exercise. You're not just like trying, and then you burn out. So if you do it slowly and you start to, just start to change your habits slowly over time, and you give yourself enough time to accomplish whatever goals you're going for, or to change your behavior, it takes a good amount of time before that starts to stick. And I mean, I've definitely seen like my ability to adjust my behavior has gotten better. And then the results give me more incentive to continue doing that. So, I've definitely kind of kept up most of what I've been doing for a long time, and I've been able to actually add food to my daily routine in the form of mostly like nuts as snacks, like peanuts and walnuts and almonds.
Making like healthier choices and then consuming them in smaller amounts in moderation.
Yeah.
I've been working on instead of eating like just 3 normal sized meals a day, where I have smaller meals, but I try to have like 5, where I will have like a small bowl of cereal before I go to work, and then a couple hours later I'll eat like a yogurt, and then I eat my lunch, and then I usually eat some like fruit snacks when I get home, and then dinner. And then just eating more smaller meals just to keep your kind of metabolic rate up, and constantly kind of fueling yourself a little bit.
That has a lot to do with the energy level, because I was trying to figure out why I had more energy, and I think that for one, your body is working better, it's more efficient, it's probably producing more energy within its cells anyway, and you're using energy better, but also by eating regularly throughout the day and not in these binge, just a ton of like a ton of food right after work, or a ton of food at lunch. You're just kind of, when you get hungry, you just eat until you're not hungry. Like I'll just eat like a handful of nuts or whatever when I get hungry in between meals, and that'll just make me feel fine. And then I just wait, and then I eat a regular meal, and it kind of staves off that kind of like, I feel uncomfortable with what I'm doing, to try to
and you kind of mediate it a little bit. It keeps you from getting like that starving hunger sensation, and then when that happens, you typically eat way more than you should, because you feel so ravenous. Whereas if you're spacing it out and kind of just keeping yourself in check at just like a normal rate the whole time, then even when dinner rolls around, you're not having 2 bowls of spaghetti and a couple things of French bread or whatever. You just have like 1 bowl, a slice of bread, and you're just like, I'm fucking good to go.
Yeah, and if you get hungry a little bit later, just eat a little small amount of something, or a yogurt or something small. And then trying to stay away from fast food, I think, is just the best thing you can possibly do.
Actually, we went to like a Burger King a few days ago, and all I got was just a grilled chicken sandwich. I didn't get fries. I didn't get a soda. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I don't want fries. It's just fucking grease and starch, and there's like not really any value to it other than just the enjoyment of how it tastes, which they're delicious. And same with soda. Like, that's just sugar and corn syrup, and there's no value to it other than the short-term satisfaction of tasting it
and
the flavor, like the little bit of maybe artificial boost in energy it's going to give you because you're on a sugar high. So I just had that, and it was awesome to just eat that one thing, and I didn't feel like shit for eating at a fast food restaurant. Like, it's probably the healthiest thing I could have gotten at a Burger King almost. So even when we go out to eat, I've just started doing that. I'm just like, thinking logically, I don't need fries and I don't need soda. I'll just get a water and one sandwich or something, and then that is it.
Yeah, definitely in researching this kind of stuff, I've been trying to figure out whether or not it's like a issue of calorie intake, exercise as in calorie burning, or if it has to do with what kinds of foods you eat. And I think it's just all 3. And that's why you have to kind of make a massive change in a lot of your behavior. You can't just eat less fast food and do no exercising and still eat some fast food and not incorporate any of these better for you foods, more natural foods.
Well, I think you could do that
vegetables
for if you were, say, eating a lot of fast food and not exercising. If you suddenly cut down on the fast food or eating without exercising, you'd probably see a small drop in weight because your body went from consuming, X amount of food down to a smaller portion. But I think that what it would do is you'd probably just lose like 5 or 10 pounds, and then you would just be stuck at that. You'd like plateau out at that point until you did another change, like adding exercise. Or, which I think was the problem I had recently, was that I had been doing pretty well dieting, but I just plateaued out. I haven't had any weight loss in a long time, and that's why I was like, well, I just got to step it up more and eat even better, and then exercise a little bit more, and I'm sure that I'll, drop off the rest of what I'm trying to get rid of. So
sure, for sure. Yeah, I've been adding a couple things, mostly kettlebell workouts that are ridiculous. And they don't take up a lot of time, so it's actually really nice. I have this Keith Weber extreme cardio kettlebell workout thing.
Courtesy and it's of your brother. Right?
Yeah, my brother Josh from the Spouting Off podcast. He gave that to me a little while ago, and I was actually intimidated by it at first. Like, I was like, oh my God, this guy is ripped. He's doing these extreme, it's got the word extreme in it, and I was really worried about it, so I didn't try it for a little while, and then my brother, he was like, hey, did you try out that DVD? And then it was like, oh, I better fucking try it out. And so then I just did it, and I did there's 6 workouts, and then a 7th kind of bonus workout, which is just a core workout, which is just like abs and a cool down. And the first time I even tried it, because I've already been working out, but I've been doing mostly body weight stuff, nothing with weights. And a kettlebell I use is pretty small. I did 4 of the 7 workouts in a row, and it was awesome because it was aerobic. It was also strength conditioning, but it was also movement. So it did a lot. It does a lot for your metabolism, for your strength and conditioning, but also for your respiration, because it's aerobic. But it's really, like, I think it's probably, and I don't know that much about working out, and I'm not trying to get buff. I'm trying to get lean and functionally, like more athletic than anything.
Yeah, that's all I'm not interested in. I've never been interested in getting like ripped and big.
Yeah.
I'd rather be lean and strong. I don't want to be bulging or anything like that. So
at least not in maybe in one place, but not in all places. But no, this kettlebell workout, I think it doesn't take a lot of time out of your day, but it does so much for you, and it's very being able to get through a lot of these workouts. I've kind of integrated that in like 3 times a week, trying to do 3 workouts and then the core workout, so that I can just that way I can eat more, and which is nice because I love food. So I get to eat more, but I don't feel like I'm losing the progress that I've been making. So I'm doing more of this exercising, and then I've been eating much better. So I was doing some research, and it was talking about like how to burn fat, and there were 2 YouTube videos I watched that had to do with burning fat, and it had to do with strength training, that building muscle helps you burn fat. And I don't know all the physiology behind it or anything, and I'm just kind of taking these really buff guys on YouTube who like make these videos.
Well, if they're pretty ripped. They obviously have a decent reputation.
One of them is Elliot Hulse, and he's like a nutrition or a fitness kind of guru on there. And then there's another guy on there that I listened to, and it made a lot of sense. He was talking about how if you have a lot of muscle, then your body is always trying to use up any kind of storage that it has in the way of fat reserves to because you're always using the energy from that to turn it into muscle. So you're kind of, the muscle is kind of like an engine. He used this analogy that like if you have a big engine, it uses up a lot more fuel. So it's the same if you're working out, you have a lot of muscle, then you're using a lot more fuel. So if you're eating, a certain amount, but you're going to burn the fat as fuel, and it's going to it's going to be able to be used in other areas of your body. So, and your abs, while you might have a lot of fat on the top of your abs are very small muscles compared to your arms and legs. And so if you build your arms and legs and your other muscles that, as well as your abs and everything, if you're just kind of always utilizing a lot of energy, then your body's going to naturally get rid of fat. So that's why, I like the idea of doing something that combines strength and cardio, like kettlebell workouts.
That's cool.
So that's been very fun and difficult as shit. Like, I mean, they're very they're not easy, and you have to push through them. And but when you do, it feels really good. So I definitely recommend that.
The biggest thing that I've enjoyed so far about trying to be healthier and everything is the level of discipline that it teaches you, actually. Because I mean, food's fucking awesome, fast food's fucking sweet, like who doesn't love a nice cheeseburger and fries and shit? But being able to control your desire to have those things to better yourself it's like a nice, it's nice to look at something like that and just be like, man, I don't need it, like fuck it, like I want it, but I don't care.
It's something to be proud of, and something that boosts your self-esteem, I think, because it has a lot of purpose, and it has a lot of it takes some self-discipline for sure, which is not something that comes naturally to me. I don't
think it comes natural to very many people at all. It's so easy to...
No, probably not.
Should just fall into, every want that your body or you have, like, instead of looking at it.
Yeah. Well, if you don't see the kind of long-term, benefits of it, then, and you don't really get that you want to live to long term. Sorry.
To long term.
I didn't make that sentence make sense.
Well, I think that it's something that especially younger people don't think about, the things that they're doing to themselves now and how that's going to affect them in the future. Like, sure, you can, eat whatever you want and all these things. And you don't really notice the effects other than maybe getting a little pudgier or something now. But, it has very nasty long-term effects if you continue to do it. Like, arteries harden, cholesterol goes up.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're 45 with fucking dozen item list of health problems because you just didn't take the time to take care of yourself at a younger age.
Sure.
So it's things I'm trying to avoid. Both my parents right now are going through a swarm of health problems, and neither of them took care of themselves at all when they were growing up. So I'm just like, I can't let that happen to myself. Like I can't do that at all. I don't want to. So just the level of discipline has been fucking sweet.
Yeah.
And it applies to other things in your life, too. Like, I use a ton of discipline for my writing. Like, I get the 1,000 words done, even if I have to sit there for 3 hours and shovel shit, essentially, to get there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just forcing yourself to do those things for you. Like, you force yourself to do these kettlebell workouts, even if maybe someday you're just like, I really don't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
It's the discipline and the regiment of just doing it.
Sure. Yeah, I've been thinking about it because I'm still at the point where I've been doing this for, as far as like maintaining a particular amount of calorie intake, not going to fast food, not eating junk food. I've been doing it for a long time now, over 6 months, or roughly, a little bit over 6 months. And I'm still super paranoid about going back. Like I still have no, like I don't know how, I'm pretty sure like it takes a long time before you feel comfortable just in your daily routine before you start. Like I still like, I'm like, oh my God, I ate this much food, I gotta go home and work out. Like I still feel like that, even though I'm like pretty much where I want to be weight wise, and I'm gaining as far as like visually, like looking better, as well as feeling better and feeling like I'm doing a good job with what I'm eating. But I still am super paranoid about it. I still have like this thing in the back of my head that's just like, don't be a fat piece of shit. Make sure you don't. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it. I have this. It's the same thing for me. If I feel like I've eaten too much or something, I'm just like, oh, I need to go do something now. Like this is ridiculous.
One of the only reasons why I'm not working out like every day is because I'm so sore. Like I have bruises on the back of my wrist from the kettlebell because you lift it behind your hand, and my legs are like super sore. And my arms are super sore. Like it hurts to like lift them sometimes, and like not that bad. I'm not saying like I've like gone overboard or anything, but like that's why I need to take a day off. But when I take a day off, I'm like, I got to do something. I got to like run in place or do jumping jacks or something, because I can't. I don't want to hurt myself as far as like.
Well, even when they do weightlifting, you alternate like your leg.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you got to recover.
Don't just do every day. Yeah. Because like you got to tear the muscle down, but then you have to give it time to repair and build back up through more strength building.
Yeah, you can definitely overtrain, and my goal is not to be like a ridiculous kind of strongman or anything. I just want, but at the same time, I don't want to like gain weight. So I'm just like, I can't eat, but I want to eat, and I've been eating all day. I got to go do this.
That's
but
how anorexia starts. I think.
I know. I definitely think that I have I think image, I understand where I'm at, but I'm definitely really self-conscious about my image and my behavior. So where that goes, I'm not too worried.
Yeah, well,
about
that happened to me in high school. As I mean, I've always been very overweight, like growing up, and then in high school, I started running a lot, and then I started losing lots of weight, and then I just stopped eating. Like I didn't want to eat because I was worried I was going to get back to where I was, and I'd worked so hard to get away from it. And I mean, I'm like 6'3", and I got down to like 165 pounds, and when I see pictures of myself from back then, I looked like I was dying. Yeah, like it was really bad, and so. Yeah. Now I'm just like, I would never want to get that thin again. That's why I'm just like, if I get to 190, 200 where I'm thin but not dying would be perfect.
That would be nice. Yeah, that seems like a goal.
But I got into that mindset of like I was afraid to eat. Like Vanessa would force me to eat stuff because I was like, no, I'm not hungry. Like and you it's you get in this your psychology into it so much that your body literally doesn't want food because you're just like, no, don't
you've convinced yourself.
Yeah, you're so convinced yourself that even your stomach is
Can
like.
we pause this for a second? Just pause. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Just had to use the restroom real quick.
Not that they noticed that there was a break in time.
Well, I said, we need to pause it, so technically there was.
Well, do a stopping point for...
we can move on.
General fitness and...
So in becoming more healthy, I've been looking things up and trying to, I guess take it a little bit further and understand... nutrition more, and part of that is been. I'm from Lisbon and Isbin.
Hello.
Looking into specific foods. I've been trying to read articles on like what you definitely should eat and what things what people have to say about different things like milk and eggs and steak. And one of my goals is to stop eating the healthy choice deals for lunch and start making my own food because it's going to be a lot leaner, a lot more natural, a lot better without any processed stuff, less sugar. So I wanted to like buy chicken and rice and noodles and just make my own little lunches and put them in Tupperwares. so going more natural, I guess, is the idea with that.
I've always wanted to do that too. Like I've always like planned on doing it, and then I just never. It's like taking the time out of your day essentially to cook a bunch of shit to put into like Tupperware containers for the week. You just have to, I guess, like create some kind of schedule on your day off where you just set aside a couple hour or whatever to cook all this stuff.
Yeah, I want to do it. The problem is that it's what I've been doing is working so well. I don't have a major incentive other than to kind of like step this whole like experiment in body modification and see what I can do with it. So we'll see how far I go with it. But anyway, one of the things that we looked up, you and I have been researching related to this, is the kind of controversial or debate on milk and dairy products, because I drink coffees every morning, and I put like low-fat milk in it, and I was, my brother kind of questioned that behavior of whether or not that's healthy or not, and I was like, "What? You're crazy. As long as it's low fat, it's fine." But then we started looking into it, and I started looking at some research. So we wanted to talk about milk specifically, to kind of get an idea of what the reality is behind its pros and cons and benefits related to health. And just as a caveat, we're not scientists or nutritionists. This is just research we've done pretty quickly over the last day, or I've been looking at it for about a week now. So why don't you start off and give us some of your notes on milk, dairy?
Cool. Well, I looked at about 4 different sources, including like WebMD, a couple fitness places, and this was just something I randomly thought of. I looked at a pregnancy website about, because technically, which is like a tickle technically. But I know a lot of women who get pregnant become very concerned about the things that they shouldn't be consuming for the health of their unborn child, fetus, if you will.
I will
for the layman's. So I figured I would like look at that too, just to get a feel for what they were saying. But essentially, I was looking at it from like a milk versus almond milk perspective, because we were talking about almond milk.
Well, yeah, it's an alternative. And there's lots of alternatives.
It's essentially the best alternative to dairy milk that there is. I mean,
all right.
From everything that I've read,
I got you.
Yeah, I mean that is just from what I have seen, but. Basically, dairy milk is important because it has 3. It's the source for 3 prime nutrients that your body needs, which is calcium, potassium, and vitamin D. And it helps with it's recommended by scientists and nutritionists because it helps balance your potassium versus sodium levels. Because typically, especially in an American standard diet, we consume way more sodium than we're supposed to. Everything's fucking enriched with sodium and has it in there. So the amount of potassium in milk helps to balance that out, which helps with high blood pressure and hypertension, muscle cramps, things like that. It's just a fun side note too. Humans are actually the only species on the planet that drink milk post-infancy.
Sure.
Let alone from another creature entirely.
Right.
I just thought that was funny. That's something that I think that you don't really think about. Milk is just milk.
Right.
It's just, you don't really think that it comes from a cow, and that's what they use to feed their little calves and all that shit.
Yeah, it gives you kind of a different perspective on milk as a reproductive product. It's not necessarily for adults after, because it's so high in fat and so high in protein that it's designed to help a creature that's growing rapidly to get to maturity. It's not necessarily something that a mature adult would drink, especially not other animals. But I think the argument that humans are the only ones that do it isn't necessarily a reason not to drink milk.
No, it's just like a funny thing to think about.
It's
funky.
Outside the box. It's an interesting fact. Yeah.
But so basically, the positive side to dairy milk is that it gives you the calcium, potassium, vitamin D, protein. It's very enriched in that. But it is high in saturated fat and calories. And it's actually been linked to, for men, higher probabilities for prostate cancer because of the level of protein that it's injecting into your body. And they kind of made it a side note. I don't know how serious it was, but they did state that it attributed to ovarian cancer in women too, but they didn't. They seem to really focus on the prostate cancer for men. So I think that might be a theory that they just have kind of
might just not have a lot of evidence for it.
Yeah. And then despite popular belief, like all those got milk commercials, it's actually not tied to bone strength in any way, shape, or form, really. They did studies in Asian countries that don't consume milk at all, and like how you were saying earlier, they have lower fracture and bone breakage rates than we do here in the States, where we typically we do drink milk.
Right.
So, I mean, the calcium does help with bone strengthening, but it doesn't play a role in such a huge factor as far as like protecting your bones and really making them strong and keeping them from being brittle. So
I think that the related to that was the Harvard study where they studied different countries and different rates of bone fractures, and then they also did some studies related to why that might be. And I think something I read was about the fact that it has such a high protein rate that it has calcium in it, but it isn't enough that would be a primary reason to drink it. And then the high amount of protein, I think they theorized that, or maybe they came up with something to do with the fact that people who drink a lot of milk, cow's milk, it actually leaches calcium from bones, so it actually is maybe detrimental to bone strength. I think that calcium is probably the only reason why the milk industry says that it's good for bones, but they don't look at all the factors related to bone strength and all that.
Well, the protein in cow's milk is actually an animal protein called casein. So essentially there's like animal proteins, which is what this is, and then they have plant proteins, which are different. They're not so extreme.
Right.
And so it's called the China study. It was a study conducted by Dr. T. Colin Campbell. I didn't look into the study too much. They just cited it as a source, but it's part of the reason why it's attributed to cancer growth, because the animal protein is so strong that it actually will feed cancer in the body and make it progress at a more rapid rate. And
yeah, and
I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize that there were like different kinds of proteins, like animal protein and plant protein. I just thought protein was protein.
What the difference is, but there's tons of different types of proteins. I don't know that much about it.
Yeah,
but, it's good to know the differences, and stay away from the ones that might be too strong for people or whatever.
But that was all the notes I had on dairy cow milk. But I did take a few notes on almond milk. It's an alternative. And this is actually just like a brief history on almond milk, but it originated in the Middle Ages. It's made by mixing ground almonds with water and then straining it so that it removes the skin and sediment out of it. But it was used in the Middle Ages as a substitute for cow's milk because it kept longer. So basically with cow's milk, they just would use it. They would use it to make butter and cheese like immediately because those things are easier to preserve. And they didn't have an effective method for storing milk because they didn't have electricity. And that's why they made almond milk. So they used the almond milk for baking and cooking and, storing and drinking over the long term. And then they would just use the cow's milk just to make the butter and the cheese. Yeah, just because it was something that they could turn it into something that they could preserve basically. But almond milk actually has a wider variety of nutrients. A quarter of the calories per serving based on 1 cup servings. And it also includes antioxidants, which actually help the body fight cancer, as well as helps with showing the signs of aging. So it reduces kind of some of the effects of aging. And then it's also free of saturated fat and cholesterol. So it just basically is awesome.
Yeah.
But the downside is that the cow's milk does have 8 times the protein. Which can be positive and negative, obviously. I think that you would only need that much protein if you're just like working out a lot or something.
Probably.
Muscle building,
or if you're a baby.
But the almond milk has vitamins A, C, D, E, calcium, iron. It's got tons of shit in it, basically. So it's a great alternative. From what I read, almond milk's great if you're obviously lactose intolerant. It doesn't affect you at all. It will affect you if you have nut allergies because it's made from almonds. So you got to be careful with that. But it's just a good alternative in terms of if you're trying to lose weight or just be healthier, because it cuts all the crap that normal milk has out of it and still gives you all the same nutritional value. it has even more potassium actually than normal milk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only difference is that the calcium is a little bit less, obviously. It has no sugar in it compared to the 11 grams of sugar you would find in a cup of standard 2% milk, not even whole milk. And then the protein is the other thing that's different. And then anyway, from the site that I was reading on the pregnancy, the reason why they don't recommend that pregnant women drink milk is because of the horrible standards that they have set for cows in dairy farms, because they pump them full of hormones and
growth hormones.
Yeah, growth hormones and things, and just to basically keep them reproducing and pumping out little calves so that they keep making milk. And they were saying that with all the growth hormones and other shit that they put into these cows, it gets into the milk. It doesn't, it affects it. And so it can have a negative impact on you and your unborn child while you're drinking it and stuff.
Sure.
So they actually recommend that pregnant women don't drink it.
Sure. And we don't feed cow milk to babies at all. We only start drinking it like when we're older or whatever, when you're over like 2 or 3 years or whatever. You would drink breast milk, which is the best thing for babies. And then, or like a formula if the parent doesn't breastfeed or whatever.
Yeah.
I definitely think breastfeeding is probably the way to go with human babies.
Yeah. Probably.
That's what I've heard. There's another thing that I was looking at when I was looking at milk was the difference between pasteurized and raw milk. And what they were talking about was that, like, there's been a lot of articles about raw milk and how it's so good for you, and you should, it's more natural and all that. But partly because of all of the, growth hormone and all these other issues, that maybe raw milk isn't the best thing, and it's probably the most fatty as well, because it's not whole, it's literally whole milk.
Yeah.
But because it's not pasteurized, it has a higher rate of pathogens and disease-carrying bacteria and stuff. So people definitely should be very careful if they drink raw milk, and the costs kind of outweigh the benefits. So people worry about the nutritional value of milk going away because of the pasteurization, which is a boiling process. It's a high heat kind of process.
The bacteria
kills bacteria. But they said in the article that there's no real significant loss of nutrients or any type of nutritional value from pasteurized milk. So really, you're just giving up safety for a kind of a trend to like drink this kind of milk or whatever. But yeah, I think potassium is probably the biggest thing that I want to make sure that I have, because I don't drink milk anyway. Since I had kidney stones, I didn't want to drink anything that had large amounts of calcium in it, because my kidney stones were most kidney stones are based on calcite deposits.
Yeah,
gathering in your kidney.
Calcium is
it can be
bad
too much for sure. Just like having way too much salt is bad, but having salt is not necessarily bad. Sodium is very important for normal functions, especially in nerves. Nerves rely on sodium channels to at least some nerves. I don't know everything about every nerve, but I know some nerves use sodium as a catalyst for communication between nerves. They have things called sodium channels. I think the dendrites is the kind of long part of a neuron, and that's where the sodium travels, and then it'll excite the next nerve down the line, and they start communicating with each other. So sodium is definitely not something that you have to, obviously you don't want to be eating a ton of like pizza or, way too much like top ramen or something, like where you're going a little crazy, but I guess if you have enough potassium, you can mitigate that risk a bit.
It's interesting. I didn't even realize that the potassium and sodium were kind of like a hand in hand. They you had to like keep a good level of both to keep them both, and they keep each other in check essentially.
Well, I know. I think I was reading and it said broccoli and tomatoes and a lot of vegetables have a ton of potassium, and I eat cucumbers and broccoli almost every day. So I don't know what cucumbers have, but I know broccoli has anti-carcinogenic stuff in it as well. So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome
to eat. And then another thing about fat is that, well, we don't want to have like excess junky fat all over our body, which is a sign of a sedentary lifestyle and not having to run around a lot, which, isn't necessarily bad, being a little bit overweight, or not overweight like in an unhealthy way, but, just having a little bit of fat around your body isn't necessarily the worst thing. But fat, as far as like part of a athlete's diet, is really good because fat is used in your brain as kind of an energy source, I believe. So it's good to eat like these kind of healthy fats, like I think they're like nuts. Nuts have really good, like coconut and walnuts and peanuts. I think peanuts are one of the less healthy nuts, but certain type of oils like olive oil and stuff like that, they have these kind of lipids and fatty acids and fats and stuff in them that are really, really good for you and necessary for your health as well. So that's why looking into these things, it's not easy. It's not as simple as just this versus this, like calories in, calories out necessarily, because you could be eating horrible food and not seeing any benefit to your body or to your weight, loss or gain. But if you eat right and then you stay active, then you're going to continue to you're going to create that discipline. You're going to create that pattern of behavior that feeds back on itself. And if you can stick with it, hopefully lasts you a long time, hopefully. Yeah. I want to continue doing this for the rest of my life. So
that's what you have to look at it as, like a lifestyle change. Like you eat something you want to change to keep doing forever, not just to keep doing for a little while to hit some goal somewhere,
or to look good on the beach or some shit, for this year,
But in terms of the milk thing I was looking at, I saw a couple of sites that were very like pro cow milk. Like they were. I think it just depends on yourself. Like you can look at the facts.
Yeah.
It seems. Just from what I've read on the both is, almond milk's great if you're just looking for a healthier alternative, if you're, trying to maintain weight or lose some weight, or you're lactose intolerant. But at the same time, people have been drinking cow's milk for years. It's not like the end all for people. If you fucking like it, you like it. Fuck it, who cares? There's worse things you can be putting in your body. I'm actually going to try switching on almond milk for a little while. I drink whole milk. I don't even really drink milk that much. I just eat it with like my cereal and some cooking and stuff. But I want to give it a shot and see if I like it and how well it goes. But I've been consuming normal milk for years.
Yeah.
Since I was a kid, so.
But that'll definitely cut some.
Yeah, it's a good way to cut some
fat
calories.
And calories and all that.
Whole milk calories, it's like 180 per serving or something.
Oh, really?
So to go from 180 down to like 40 is it's a good way to like cut a few corners there. And my wife's lactose intolerant, so I told her, I was like, I'm going to get some almond milk next time I go to the store, and that way, because she doesn't eat cereal or anything with milk because it just upsets her stomach so badly. So it'll be a good way for her to have something that she can enjoy, hopefully. That doesn't mess with her later on down the road. So
I think, just like anything else, milk is a pretty potent, especially whole milk, is a pretty potent beverage. It's not just like water or anything like that. It's not just like white creamy water. It's got a lot in it, and you should be aware of that. And just don't drink a ton of it. Just add it. If you want to drink a little milk here and there, I don't think that's a big deal, as long as you're doing what it's about. And
knowledge is power. So
for sure.
It's funny because I grew up, they had those Got Milk commercials, and I grew up and it was put into my brain that milk was just like the awesome thing. Right. That, you should be drinking it every day to make your bones strong. It was good for you. And it is in some respects, but it's also incredibly bad for you at the same. It's a very double-edged sword.
Right.
Like it's beneficial, but its benefits are almost canceled out by its negative effects at the same time.
And then you have the huge negatives that come from the environmental issues of massive dairy farms with these horribly treated cows that are just kind of penned in together in their own feces. They're creating a ton of waste, and so I think that's a big issue too. If you're drinking a lot of milk from the store and you're drinking a lot of or eating a lot of cheese and things like that, then you're supporting the farms that do that. And if you look into it, I think there's a lot that sucks about those huge dairy farms, and I think the waste in general is really bad that they create, and the way that the cows are treated and all that. not that I'm a big, I'm not a huge animal rights activist, but it's pretty, I don't like to see animals, suffer.
Yeah.
So,
well, just imagine yourself in that situation.
I don't want to get
sucks.
Milked,
yeah,
at all.
Be pumped full of growth hormones and milked on a daily basis.
Yeah.
But
Sounds good.
It was a cool exercise in taking something that's like, it seems like common knowledge, or just everybody just says that, oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And instead of looking into it, you just assume that since everybody's saying that it's just awesome, and you don't think twice about it. So it's kind of enlightening for me to say something that's so mundane, essentially, and then
commonplace,
and really just look into it and what goes into it, and the negative side of it as well, instead of the spotlight that it's always put into.
Sure.
Makes me want to do more things like that with other things, like that people say. I mean, I can't think of something off the top of my head that everybody's like, oh, it's awesome. Oh yeah,
I want to reach chocolate.
Chocolate.
I want to learn about chocolate and see. I know there's a lot of benefits to chocolate, and, but it's an interesting thing because I kind of just don't eat any chocolate because it's usually associated with sweets and fats and all this stuff, and I'm sure that there, moderation and with that stuff is probably a good idea. But
see, what I know of it, or what I've been told. That's the key word there. Told is that dark chocolate is actually good for you. It's good for your heart, but it's like the milk chocolate and the white chocolate, like the other ones that are typically not good for you. And I think that's because I don't know why. I just mean that's just what I
I think it has antioxidants in it, and so. But we'll do research on that, and then I also want to research carbohydrates, sugars, and just kind of learn more about how that works. I looked up metabolism, but metabolism is not as straightforward as my body burns this much at this rate. It's essentially a physiological cell. A function of cells and homeostasis and all this really complex stuff that I didn't really realize. I was like, oh, I just want to know, like, is it good or what do I do? But
how do I get more of it?
Yeah, how do I add
I gotta get
metabolism?
More. Give me some more energy so I can do more stuff.
Yeah. So I want to look into to that kind of stuff as well. But it's cool it's kind of like a new hobby as well as a lifestyle changes to learn some new stuff about health, and it definitely kind of is a holistic kind of lifestyle thing that it's intellectual, but it's also physical, and so it's been interesting to do some research on this stuff. And it is important to obviously do research on, we take so much for granted in our daily lives, and what our what we grow up doing and living with, and how we eat, and we assume that our parents are looking out for us, and like they didn't do any research into food.
No, they
and
were
health.
They're just
like, hey, this is available, it's cheap
told.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they didn't even know this information because science, is growing all the time, and weird, new experiments are coming out all the time, and longitudinal studies are not necessarily talked about enough, and so we might find out in a few years that some of this research isn't necessarily true over the long run. So it's important to stay up, and people need to keep researching this kind of stuff.
Well, that's the beauty of the internet, is you have the best research tool in the world at your fingertips pretty much all the time.
For sure.
It's just a matter of taking advantage of it and using that.
Right. And then trying to find the right links. Because like you said, there are some websites that say milk is the best thing in the world, but you got to look at a few different sources. You got to look at sources with different backing and different funding. And you have to look at things that are brought to you by universities as opposed to like a publisher of a magazine who's just has a journalist writing an article who's doing the same kind of research I'm doing on like the internet, or doing some minimalistic kind of interviewing of some person that they call an expert. You got to be pretty careful, but I think when you find enough sources and
I usually try to find like at least like 3 or 4. If I'm researching something I don't know that much about, I will try to at least look at like 3 to 4 different things, and if they all say pretty much the same thing, then I feel pretty confident that it's probably true.
or at least there's some evidence that you're looking at, as opposed to just people saying it's true. But I try to look up scholarly articles. So on Google, I'll type in scholarly articles on blah blah blah, and what you'll find is actual like research and their original paperwork. And sometimes the abstract is good enough to get an idea of what that kind of research looks like, or what kind of words they're using, or whatever. And a lot of times those are just free online. You don't have to subscribe to anything, and you can just read an entire article or an entire actual published research paper, which I went to school and studied psychology, so I'm actually I'm pretty good at reading research papers. I had to write research papers and evaluate research papers as well. So while I'm not, in the health and biology fields or anything, or haven't learned a lot from that stuff, I can get a lot out of those, methods. The method and the conclusions that they make in a research article are oftentimes not as conclusive as the abstract or the interpretation of the person reading it is. Like, they want to come up with a yes or no, black or white answer, but in the actual article you'll read in the actual paper, like, well, we need to do more research on this, our population was very small, so we need a bigger sample group, or they'll say, well, this is a factor that we didn't take into account, but you won't get that necessarily in a kind of paraphrasing of a research, because people want direct answers in life. They don't want like, well, it's good for this, but not always, and this is
sometimes,
and especially like psychological things. It's so multifaceted that you can't just be like, you can't always just say it's good or bad or whatever. So that's something to think about when you're doing research.
Well, what was cool about the milk research is that I just looked at like nutrient charts that just give you very straight information. I mean, like you were saying, like psychological things are tough because there's not just a chart that just tells you information. It's it's different based on the person. So certain things I think are a little bit easier to research if it's tangible and has strict factual information that you can compare. Yeah, which was cool because I started off just reading a few articles, and then I was just like, I just want to see a chart. Like, I just want to see a breakdown of the nutrients of both of these things, and then just compare them. Which was cool.
Yeah, I've drinking. I've had almond milk quite a bit, and it tastes good. It's nice. I just don't really eat cereal, and I'm not going to just.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would use it for. Is we need with my Special K in the morning.
Special K is good. Do you eat the ones with the strawberries?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that shit is tasty. I don't think those are real strawberries, though, are they?
I think that they are. I think they're just dried. I mean, they look like real strawberries.
They taste great.
Like
yeah.
I think that they just dry them like, raisins or whatever, and then they just throw them in the bag.
Yeah. That was my favorite cereal, for sure.
Yeah, that's what I eat pretty much all the time. Every once in a while, I'll change it up with something else. They have a bunch of different flavors now. They have like yogurt ones and all sorts of different stuff, but I can't handle fucking sugary cereal anymore. Like when I was a kid.
Oh no, that shit just like upsets
my stomach, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, like fucking Cocoa Pebbles or
I don't know why, but I just got this s'mores cereal the other day. It was just like this little bag, and I'm like, I don't know. It was just the mood I was in. I was like, that looks good. And then I had a bowl of it the other day, and I ate like half of it. I'm like, I can't. Yeah, this is like a dessert item. This isn't fucking breakfast. Wow. So I told Vanessa, I was like, you should just eat that when you have a sweet tooth. Just eat that shit because I'm not going to eat it. I made a bad decision.
Doesn't she also have diabetes? So she
supposedly. I mean, there's insulin in the fridge. She stabs herself with needles here and there.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it could be a different kind of problem.
I think it's heroin.
Yeah.
She always seems a little different afterwards. Wow. Who knows?
She's holding that shit together if she's a heroin addict. She's doing a great job.
She still has all of her teeth. She doesn't scratch anywhere. Isn't that crazy? She is. I
just meant because you said sweet tooth, so it's like...
but it's... Diabetes is that's like a whole other subject on its own. I actually want her to come on and do like a guest spot and talk about diabetes.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
I think that would be kind of fun to...
We could do an intervention.
Stop having diabetes. Come on.
This is how your diabetes affects me. I wrote a little story.
Well, and that's why I like kind of working on a more strict diet and her doing it with me is it's good for her too because that's a huge, important pillar for a diabetic, is to maintain a very strict, good, healthy diet that's balanced. Because I mean, they need carbohydrates and sugar and all that shit. They're not supposed to have it in excess. They don't produce the insulin to keep that shit under control. So, unless they physically take some. But I mean, their pancreas is dead. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
it's
doesn't create
bean
insulin
in their body. But anyway, like I said, that's that's just busting into a whole other situation.
Pancreas.
If anybody wants to know what a pancreas does, produces insulin for your body, which regulates the blood sugar levels in your body. Yeah. Which, if you don't have enough, will make you pass out because your body doesn't have any sugar running in it, and you need that shit. Or if it gets too high, you have fucking freak out episodes.
Yeah, I bet.
And you kind of black out.
Yeah.
It gets to such a high level. Which is
and that's
weird.
Type 1 diabetes, so that's the born with kind of.
Yeah, that's what she has.
Developed through natural causes or whatever.
The misconception is that it's like a fat old lady disease, but that's Type 2 diabetes.
Right.
Where
that's the one that everybody talks about because it's more self-induced.
Oh, it's much more rampant. Yeah, well, especially in our culture and society where a lot, like way too many people are overweight. Yeah. But that one is usually onset by being overweight, having a poor diet. The older you are, the more susceptible you are to it. But no, she's got Type 1, so her pancreas is just dead in the water when she was like 4.
Oh, wow.
So she I mean, the first few years of her life, she was fine, but it just happened suddenly, and she ended up in the hospital and almost died.
Yeah, because how do you find out? You
find out the hard way. Yeah. Like I said,
scary.
she can talk about all that at some point. I'm sure that'll be a.
It's an interesting topic for sure.
No, yeah, it is. It's very. I was gonna say cool, but not really cool.
Yeah,
it's fascinating.
It's interesting how when you're interested in reality, some stuff is super interesting, even if it's super terrible. You know, I saw a post on Facebook, and it was about a comedian who recently died. I don't remember their name, and it had like 253 likes, and the name of the article, that was on Facebook was like, "This comedian dies." It's like. Clicking seems like the wrong thing. Yeah, like, do you like that we're talking about it and celebrating their life, or do you like that they're dead? It's just like,
I know they almost
the word
need
like
more
is
options.
Wrong.
They should have like a like, and then they should have a dislike and a that's sad button, and
like a little unhappy face, like a little cryy face. But they can't do a dislike because then everything you post, all your stupid sarcastic friends will be like, "Oh, fuck you, man, fuck you, man," and they're trying to stay positive with the whole thing. I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I've had that happen where I'm looking at stuff and people have liked it, and I'm like, but this is really sad. So what are you liking?
Yeah.
I'm confused.
But then again, you're posting it on Facebook, so
exactly.
You can't really think it's worth too much.
Either people are assholes or they just like the fact that people are talking about it. I like to go for the latter just because.
Well, you'll never know, because you can't tell sarcasm.
Just go onto the comments and be like, why are you liking this?
Yeah,
he's dead now. He no longer exists.
It shouldn't be an option. Cool. Right on. Any other news updates? I mean, we've already plugged the other podcast a bunch. And
the other podcast?
Yeah, the Cornwall Literature
podcast. That
one.
Yeah, well, we're actually going to record another episode for Cornwall Literature here in a few moments. So there'll be a new episode up for that before you guys even hear this, actually. So for those of you in the future who've already listened to the next recording, cool. Thank you for people in the future listening to it. We're here in the past thanking you. So,
it's like the normal kind of time travel.
Yeah,
just sort of waiting for time to happen.
But that's all that's really going on that front. We'll have a new episode up for that. And anything exciting happening on your end at all?
Nope.
I mean, this is it's not really your end, it's our end. We're both just kind of involved in this whole thing.
Nothing happening for me in any end. All of my ends are not happening.
I guess that's good. I mean, unless you died.
Well,
then
everything would end in my on my end.
Yes.
Cool. Well, let's call it. And thanks for listening. Thank you, everybody. And hit us up on Facebook on our different pages and our Fleeting Thoughts page is up there on Facebook and Twitter. We've got...
I am at a novel scheme if you want to chit-chat or follow.
And I am at Joe Grins on Twitter. And have a good life.
And good night. And good luck.
Be safe there. And I love you.